Tom Mulcair, the former leader of the federal NDP and the leader of the official opposition in Parliament, is on the line. Good afternoon, Tom.
Good afternoon, Mr. Whalen.
How are you today, sir?
Well, just fine. Great luncheon. I saw Andrew and other people at the annual St. Patrick's Luncheon at the Bonaventure today. A big event, highly successful. Francis Garpaligia, an MP from the West Island, and the Speaker of the House of Commons delivered a sterling speech that was really appreciated by everyone in the audience.
It's always a stellar event, and I'm sorry I had to miss it this year, but yeah, it's a good one. The annual luncheon.
It is an event for the community, and I think it's the 180th or something like that. Yeah. It's been going for just a little while, but no, it really is a chance to get together, and a lot of politics going on. Charles Milliard, no surprise, showed up with some of his M&As, but good on him. You know, he knows and he understands the need to reach out to all the communities, and he was there.
Yep. And now you have your pick of what you want to talk about this afternoon. There are so many things.
Well, I'd love to get your take, because we did this one. We touched on this a little bit with Ken Connors this morning when I was talking about it, but I'd love to know your take. Also, what with the idea that the Conservatives, they thought they were going to embarrass the Liberals by bringing forward the idea that Don Cherry should get the Order of Canada. I don't know about you, but it looks like this thing is starting to fire back on them.
Yeah, I don't know how much thought went into that, quite frankly. It perplexes me a little bit. I don't know if you heard me talking about it earlier, but
no, I did not know.
Well, quite frankly, I didn't touch on that part of it, but quite frankly, for myself personally, I don't think Don Cherry is worthy of the Order of Canada. And it's not because of anything he might have said or didn't say, or what, who he offended. And let's face it, he's offended quite a few people.
Just about everyone.
Yeah, he was an equal opportunity offender.
Exactly.
And but when it comes right down to it, he's an entertainer, or he was an entertainer.
Yes.
And
yes.
He
knew a fair bit about hockey.
He knows a great deal about hockey. Probably knows more about hockey than I've forgotten. He's forgotten more about hockey than I'll ever know, I think, as the saying goes. But just because he was a good broadcaster, and he was a good broadcaster, whether you agreed with him or not, he did his job and he did it well. And just because he did his job and did it well does not make him a candidate for the Order of Canada.
I agree.
There has to be more to it than that. And
but on a political plane, I have to tell you, you could tell this sort of thing. This is an idea of a backbencher. You're allowed to bring forward your own stuff when it's your turn. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, you saw some of the leadership, Poilievre sort of weighing in on it, was in agreement with it. And then they realized what a hot potato it is when they start seeing all the dumb things that the guy said over the years. I mean, like you say, he's offended just about everybody, but he's attacked Francophones, and he's attacked Swedes, and he's attacked immigrants, and the list just goes on, and women. And you start going, really? This is emblematic of what the Conservatives consider to be a great Canadian? And by the way, the Conservatives always love finger-pointing and saying, oh, let's talk about the importance of respecting our institutions in Canada. Well, guess what? Politicians don't have a word to say about who gets named to the Order of Canada.
Of course
it's not. A committee that advises the Governor General. So it was backwards from the beginning.
Yeah. And again, I don't know what the Conservatives, and I say the Conservatives as a whole, because Pierre Poilievre doesn't make this decision on his own, as you very well know. He has people advising him, but at some point he should have said, no, I don't think so. This is too much. It's just too polarizing. Just taking a look.
That's the exact right word. And Poilievre has been making it a point recently to try to appear less polarizing. Yep. He gave a good speech in Toronto where he had nice things even to say about Carney. The people around him are trying to beat him up and get him to understand that he's not getting very far ahead. Look, we were on with Nick Nanos the other day, and he has Mark Carney 35 points ahead of Pierre Poilievre in terms of personal popularity, 56 to 21. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sorry, that's an insurmountable lead for Pierre Poilievre. It simply signals that Canadians are not willing to consider him seriously to become Prime Minister of Canada.
I would harbor a guess. As a matter of fact, I would probably bet folding money on the fact that there are people in the Conservative Party right now, and I'm not talking about elected officials, I'm talking about the power brokers within the party, are saying, okay, we've got to do something here.
I can tell you that they are, because I do a fair bit of work in Toronto now. I wind up meeting people in, the financial sector and in the business sector and so forth, and a lot of them are conservatives. But they'll tell you, personally, off the record, they're not going to be quoted on it, but they'll just tell you, look, we actually liked the guy. We thought he was a great choice. He put on a great campaign, got us a wonderful result, but we're starting to realize he's never going to be the Prime Minister of Canada.
Well, I ran into someone in the SAQ in Hudson not long ago who said
too much information. You don't have to say it. I ran into someone in the store the other day. It would have been more than enough.
Whatever. And anyhow, the message was pretty much the same. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people are starting to realize that he's got a lot of stuff. He's a smart guy, and he's a tremendous debater. And there are two things you have to do when you're leader of the opposition. The first is to hold the government to account. Well, he's great at that. Coming both barrels blazing at Carney every time he can get a chance. But you've got to be able to have other stuff too, that's to convince Canadians that you're a government in waiting, that your party can actually take over the government. I don't think they're there yet.
Now, just a few minutes ago, we spoke to the Queen's Park reporter from the Globe and Mail, Jeff Gray, and he was telling us about the Ontario Premier trying to exempt portions of his government, at the very least, from the Freedom of Information Act. Now, is this much ado about nothing, or is it something we should be keeping our eye on?
We should keep our eye on it because it's a general tendency with governments across Canada. Trudeau was awful about it, not giving journalists the information that they are allowed to get on our behalf. I mean, this is a general rule. The information belongs to Canadians. And the government has a few exemptions and exceptions. They can keep stuff that would be an industrial secret that they were given perhaps by a company that was looking to get a subsidy. You don't release that, fine. If it's a military or other secret that could hurt national security or defense, you don't have to share that. But the general workings of government, the day-to-day slog, what have the bureaucrats said about this program? What happened to this company in that case? That should all be public. They don't like releasing it. Ford is a typical example. He's just so ham-fisted. He says out loud what the other ones do behind closed doors, because what Trudeau's technique was simply to stall, to tie the thing up in bureaucracy and red tape and make sure you never got the information that you're entitled to.
Mm-hmm. And Pierre Trudeau obviously did it in a far more elegant way than Doug Ford could.
Well, again, it's become a thing in provincial governments more generally, but I do think that the public this is the type of thing that the public should be more concerned about, but I think that they're just so down on governments generally. This is a detail they don't pay a lot of attention to.
And let's turn our attention briefly to our spray-tanned, bad hairdo friend south of the border, who's trying to solidify his trade tariffs.
Well, basically what he's trying to do now is to do the moonwalk. Imagine Donald Trump as an orange hair Michael Jackson, trying to do one step forward and two steps back at the same time. Because he got slapped down by the Supreme Court of the United States on his tariffs. Now he's looking for excuses to slap tariffs on countries because he can't do the general thing that he was going to do before, because that was considered a tax and that's not his purview. But now he's trying to say, no, but I am allowed to go after countries that are doing bad things to us. So he's just trying to go through a different route, which is exactly, by the way, what he promised to do after the Supreme Court decision. He said, I've got other avenues that I could be exploring, and that's what this is about. Donald Trump trying to find another way to fleece other countries while, in fact, just making American consumers pay the increase, because if you're increasing the cost of aluminum and steel and everything else that goes into a car, guess what? Americans are paying thousands of dollars more for cars now, but it's taken them a while to realize that Donald wasn't getting money from China. He was getting money out of their pockets.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think we have too much to worry about as far as his investigations are concerned, as in Canada being on his list of countries to investigate.
No, and everyone is just doing a countdown until next fall's midterm elections, when he's got to get his rear end handed to him, and it'll be a lot easier to deal with the Donald after that.
Tom, our first conversation on the air was
a lot of fun.
Absolute pleasure. Great talking to you this afternoon.
You too.
Are you up north?
Care. Yep.
You are? Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks, man. Take good care.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back
2010s, the decade.
to the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best.
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katy, Gaga, The Weeknd,
And more. All your decade-defining favorites, all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away.